Hello and welcome back everybody, it's time for another Dr. Stone review, and this week's chapter gave us two fights. Well, it didn't give us the conclusion of the second fight, but we did get to experience two fights, and those fights were obviously Ginro versus Argo as well as Chrome versus Magma. Now, Ginro versus Argo was actually one of the better fights that I've seen in this tournament, because we got to see Ginro kinda have confidence in his own abilities for once. You know, he's kind of the weaker out of the group, and in this chapter we got to see him actually believe in himself. You know, his confidence just skyrocketed, and that's obviously because he was eating those raw materials which would serve as a steroid if they were prepared, and he thinks that eating them raw would just make him much stronger than not eating them raw, I guess, which isn't really the case, as Senku and Chrome kind of points out. Instead, it's gonna give him stomach issues, which we did see later on after the fight. But during the fight, he has this self-image of himself really buffed and strong, and although that wasn't really what he looks like, having that self-image of yourself being so good, you know, if you're not really that confident in your own abilities in the first place, that will probably serve as a good thing. Not entirely as a good thing, but thinking you can do better than you actually can will at least give you a better chance of winning. And we gotta see Ginro just blitz this guy. You know, he used speed in order to win. You know, it wasn't really about power itself. He was just hammering Argo really quickly, and eventually Argo fell over the edge and fell down into the water. So, you know, it was more of a ring out situation rather than an actual victory. You know, he didn't beat him into a pulp. It was just more about, you know, overwhelming his opponent with speed. And we did see at the very end that, you know, Ginro did take a beating himself as well, because his face was all messed up. You know, he also had a self-image of how the fight ended, which obviously he thinks that, you know, he looks really beautiful and everyone is loving him, but in actuality he looks so hideous because of all of the damage he's taken from Argo that everyone is just looking at him like he's a wreck, you know, because he is. I mean, he's missing teeth and all that shit. Now, the fight that I really want to talk about is obviously Chrome versus Magma, because that's really the focus of the chapter, because Magma is the antagonist of this tournament, if you want to call it that. Chrome is nowhere near Magma's abilities, we know this much. You know, Magma is a powerhouse, he's really strong. Kinra was a match for him, but as we know, Magma kind of tricked him and won the match. And now we have to experience, you know, the match between Chrome and Magma. Chrome is just not a combat man, you know, he's a scientist. He doesn't fight, and having him matched up with Magma is just telling you, know, this is trouble, because he doesn't have a chance in winning when it comes to brute force. He cannot win in a physical brawl with Magma. And we see how Magma is just beating the shit out of Chrome. You know, Chrome is just not having any chance of counterattack, and eventually, you know, when the fight is kind of nearing its end, we see how Chrome, he's at the verge of defeat. You know, he's about to collapse, but he wants to keep in the game because he doesn't want Magma to become Ruri's husband. You know, he wants someone worthy of Ruri to become the husband, even if it's not him, you know, someone that isn't as much of an asshole as Magma. You know, it could be Kinro, it could be Chrome, anyone else, just not Magma. And we see this moment where he holds up Suika's broken helmet. You know, at first he's kind of protecting it because he has a plan to use it, but then he holds it up hoping that the lenses in the helmet will actually burn Magma's clothes, much like a magnifying glass would if you hold it, you know, through the sun. But he does not realize that the lenses are not strong enough, because he doesn't have the same understanding of science as Senku. Senku explained that, you know, you can use it like this, but that was an entirely different lens. And, you know, Senku explained in the past that you can use it like that, but it takes a really powerful lens in order to burn clothes, and Chrome doesn't understand that because Senku didn't really say that specifically. Chrome just kind of took for granted that, you know, oh, it's a lens, it's gonna work, but that isn't really the case. So he's in deep shit, but he won't give up. We saw at the end of the fight when Chrome actually, he kind of smiles and just says, I am Chrome, the sciencer. So he's not really willing to give in regardless of how badly he is being beaten into a pulp. And one thing that I noticed in this chapter was when we saw this character, it does look like the magician guy who we saw earlier. I don't really remember his name now. You know, the guy who worked for Tsukasa, the guy who wanted Coca-Cola, I think, from Senku, and Senku said to him, I can make it, don't worry. So he's kind of working as a double agent for Tsukasa and Senku, I guess. Not entirely sure if it's him. I think it is him because we saw these stitches on the neck, and I think that is him because, I mean, he did refer to Chrome as Chromie, meaning he knows Chrome, obviously. And who else would that be, right? And given his character, he's probably gonna have some kind of trick up his sleeve that will make Chrome have some kind of chance against Magma. Not entirely sure what that would be because it would have to be something indirect, because if we remember, the judge said that you can't directly help someone in the fight, you know, in a combat way. So it's gonna have to be something really discreet and probably indirect, you know, maybe give him something that wouldn't really directly harm his opponent or something like that. Like, he can't give him a weapon. But if you base it off of Suika's help, you know, she gave Kinro her helmet. So obviously there are some things that you can help with, just it depends kind of what it is really. And I'm curious just what he is about to do, because I have a feeling he is going to interfere with their fight in some way. I'm just not entirely certain how he's going to go about it, because he is a shifty character, but at the same time, you know, he did almost get killed by Magma. You know, Magma just came onto him when he was alone and just attempted to murder him. But as we know, this guy, he had these fake blood pouches on him, which made it seem like he died, but he really didn't. You know, he just faked his death. So I think because Magma actually tried to kill him, he is going to do something against Magma that is going to make him lose the match. As I've now said a couple of times, I don't really know what, but I think that's the path that this fight is going to be taken towards. Anyway, that's really all I had to say about this chapter, so I'll be ending this video here. I hope you liked it. Let me know what you think down below in the comments about the chapter or about this review. And as always, if you did, be sure to Detroit smash that like button if you enjoyed, and subscribe if you're new to my channel. This has been your favorite host, Perm, and I will see you next time.